family. Again, welcome back to the kitchen for another edition of Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. I am your host, Nina Fletcher, and I'm going to do something that has been on high demand. For those of you who don't know, but you will know soon, for the past 3 years or so, have been throwing an event called Vegan Food Day. And I generally have really a great time, DJ, jazz band, everything. So those of you who have been coming to my Vegan Food Days for the past 3 years have noticed that I omitted one in particular recipe in addition to the kale patties, but I did post that one, you guys, I did. So I'm getting a lot of requests for this particular recipe. It is the chocolate avocado mousse. And I do some things that are different with this recipe than most people, which is why it is, I guess, so requested. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is a raw recipe, so we're not going to be using the stove or, the oven. This is very quick and easy to make. I will warn you, however, the avocados around this season tend to be just a little bit expensive, which is why I was sort of omitting it because it is Plant Dominant Dollars, but still, even in off season, it can be considered a Plant Dominant Dollars dish. So let's get started. I actually have the two different kinds of avocados. One's the Mexican avocado and one is more like the Hass avocado. The difference is one of the skins is a little bit darker and the other one is a little bit greener and a little bit more smooth. One is extremely, here, let me show you. Let me get the sticker off of here. One is extremely prickly. You want to take a look at that, see? One's a little dark and prickly, see? And this one right here is a little bit greener and it's a little bit more smooth, okay? So in taste, they are a little bit different, but it actually helps this dish. So I'm probably the only one who uses the two different kinds of avocados. That's because I'm different. So let's get cracking. All right, so like I said, this is a raw recipe. So we're not going to be using any type of heat. You want to pick a nice avocado that is ripe. You just cut it around the circumference of the avocado until the pit is exposed. You grab this, and to be honest with you, I saved mine. Just an interesting fact, avocado plants take about 7 years to grow before you can even get one avocado, so they're very, very hard to grow. I have 1 or 2 plants growing myself, and also my mother has one. But I saved the seeds because I plan on being here in 7 years, and if I can grow my own avocados, why not? Who knows? Who knows if they'll grow in this climate? So what you're going to do is just wrap this so you can see. After you've cut it in half, you're going to scoop out the inside, right? Plop it right in. And you want to get them so that they're nice and ripe. You don't want too much oxidation going on. A little bit of oxidation is not bad. But when you start seeing oxidation all the way through down beneath the pit, you don't want to go there with an avocado, okay? So that's one, and I'm just going to do the remaining. Now that was one of the dark prickly, and let me show you what this one looks like inside. Same thing, you'll cut through and you'll feel the actual nut or the seed in there, and that's when you start turning it. Whoop, and there it is. It's juicy. Okay, so about 2 ought to do you, right? Let me just rinse my hands off a little bit, and I think it might have hit me in the face a little bit. So I don't want to be talking to you with avocado on my face. So let me just do that gentle rub there. All right. So after you have your avocados in, what you want to do is go ahead and, okay, this is, let me explain what this is. You've seen me use creme de cacao or cream of coconut, right? This is cream of coconut. I always save my cream of coconut, and I love using the fat part, okay? So you can get reduced fat if you want, but this is dessert. And it's vegan. So go ahead, get you the fat cream of coconut and scoop about 2 or 3 tablespoons of it in. That's where you're getting some of your sweetness from. Your next item is going to be grade B maple. And I actually prefer grade B maple over agave for this, and for most recipes. It has a stronger flavor. You can even go with a dark amber A. That's about 2 or 3 tablespoons. I do this stuff by eye. It works. You're going to have just a little bit of Madagascar vanilla. If you have the ones like with the vanilla seeds, that's absolutely fabulous. If you join my class, I'm going to teach you how to make vanilla extract. All right. Let's see. The next ingredient is going to be, believe it or not, okay, some people will use salt. I don't like salt in this recipe because sometimes, since it's raw, you'll get a grain of salt. Some people also use cane sugar. I don't like to use cane sugar in this recipe because sometimes you'll get what? A grain of sugar. So I use grade B maple, and in place of salt, I use soy sauce. And that's what's different. Somehow, and this I measure. This is like 1/8 of a teaspoon, okay? Because the soy sauce takes the place of the salt without it having to be grainy, okay? Now, it is at this point that you want to go ahead and put in the cacao powder. Now, I do this by sight, but this, I think this is probably a 1/4 cup, measuring cup. That don't look right, so I'm going to tell you to use, I'm going to tell you to use 1/3 of a cup. Because that's 1/4 of a cup plus. So I would say that by eye is telling me that is 1/3 of a cup. Okay. Now here goes some other variations to it that you might want to try. You might want to try a little bit of almond extract. Now I will be honest with you, the taste is a little bit competitive when it comes to, you know, that with the soy sauce. For some odd reason it brings out the soy sauce. So I would only use the almond extract if you're using cane sugar. That's just me. Okay. I do have one more ingredient here, and this is about half a tablespoon of coconut oil. Okay. So let's cover this up. That's not by any means our last ingredient, but we can get it set up to go over here on the blender, the food processor. And again, I said it in many other shows. Don't get scared just because I'm using a food processor and you might not have one. You can do it in your blender, but go to Goodwill. They got them for like 15 bucks. I was just there. I saw it. So don't be scared. Okay? So what I do is I get this pulsed just a little bit first because I want to make sure all of the ingredients sort of incorporate. Then what I do, this is probably, now I do this by eye too and pulse it in, but this is almond milk or coconut milk, and you start to add that so it becomes a little creamy. You just want to keep blending until the green pieces go away, or if you get it through. All right, so I think we've got the consistency. You want to make sure you blend that till it's nice and smooth. Remember, you are dealing with fats. These, although it's vegan, these are vegetarian fats, which is actually good for you. Your body can at least identify those and put it the right places. You ever ask a vegan or vegetarian what they do to keep their weight on? Here it is. Avocados. All right, so here, let me show you what that looks like. Nice and smooth. Okay? And what you do, ooh, yum. Oh my goodness, that looks so good. That's for me for later. I'm gonna lick that later. Put that right over here. All right. You're gonna scoop it out. Put it right in a steel bowl. And remember, you're not dealing with too much. I mean, all vegetables are basically water soluble because it took water for them to grow. But you're dealing with fats here. So they sort of solidify, especially the coconut oil that we put in there. It sort of brings together and solidifies once it gets cold. So what you want to do is take this, put it in a metallic bowl. I like metallics, I'm sorry. And you're going to put it in the freezer or in the refrigerator, but I'm putting it in the freezer because I have to work fast for you guys. Just for a second, because I want it to get more creamy. Now, let's get on to, it's going to be a lot of good stuff for me to lick later. I'm just going to move this over. A little bit of whipped cream. Now here again, this is our, let me explain first. I put the bowl and the beater in the freezer to make sure everything is cold so that hopefully it'll froth up a little bit. So I'm taking the coconut fat, I'm putting it in the bowl, and at this point, notice I haven't used sugar too much anywhere else, but I felt like maybe a little bit of sort of whipped cream was in the water. So what that is cream of coconut, in particular the fat, the cream of coconut fat, mixed in a bowl that's been sticking in the freezer for some time. Okay? With a little bit of confectioner's sugar and a little bit of vanilla. And a little Kahlua. Shh. Just a little bit. You can find non-alcoholic Kahlua if you want it. That's if you want it. Okay. So here goes my whipped cream. I like mine just a little bit loose. I don't like to use too much confectioner's sugar. Just a bit is good enough for me. Whip it as well as you can while the bowl is cold. And you'll notice it sort of start to stick up. It's all right if it's sort of like a frosting type. You can always use an electric beater if you like to try to get it more stiff peaks and all that, but I don't do that. All right, time to plate up. Yep, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. You just wait for it to set up just a little bit, and it set up just that quickly. Extremely, extremely, extremely rich. Extremely rich and chocolatey. Let me move some stuff out the way. And it is at this point where you completely lose your mind. I prefer, and of course I always talk to people about getting a certain amount of nuts in their diet. It's very, very important. So this is one of the ways that I use an excuse to get a handful or so of nuts in my diet per day. I either try to put it in my smoothies in the morning or in my pie crusts, or I put it in my desserts at night. But either way, I make sure that I get sometimes even 2 helpings of nuts in. So, that was cinnamon. You don't have to use cinnamon if you don't want to. I usually just plop just a little bit of coconut oil in that mix so that the cinnamon sticks. You can use olive oil just as easily too. Now let it just sit for a minute. I have the most delicious raspberries. Yes, I do. And that's our whipped cream that I like to drizzle over just for some taste, with a little Kahlua taste. Should I? Okay, and nuts right on around. And if you notice, I have extra, so we're gonna be getting down in a minute. All right, so there you have it. That is the chocolate avocado ice cream. And it is ready. And Plant Dominant Dollars worthy. In any season, pretty much. Let's go for the taste. Get me a raspberry and some nuts and some of that Kahlua whipped cream. That's it. Let me tell you something. Kahlua makes everything better. I just had to say it. I'm sorry. That Kahlua drizzle whipped cream it's adding something to it. And the cinnamon in the nuts is just really, really bringing out and rivaling. I mean, oh my God. You've got to try it, or you've got to come out to a Plant Dominant Dollars Vegan Food Day party to give it a try. Stay tuned and we'll tell you how to get there. Thank you for watching. My name is Nina Fletcher. You're watching Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. We will see you later.
Thank you for watching Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tune in next week when Nina takes on.
I want to answer some of the questions that you guys have been asking
Here on Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher.